Hello and welcome to episode 80 of FPL Apprentice. Still the only get my words out. Still the only podcasting series that delves into the minds of one of the greatest players to ever play the game, former world number one, currently world ranked number 9, and in the last decade in the world top 5 for points scored is, of course, my co-host, Mr. Matthew Corbridge. Matt, one game week to go. Can't believe it's the end
Yes.
of the season already.
Yeah. I don't know. Has it gone around quickly? The last couple of weeks certainly have. I'm looking forward to it. I think you just want to keep it going and going, right? Some kind of like
I do. I
funny
wouldn't
thing
mind.
is how momentum swings. Like I kind of won't reveal, but yeah, you're sitting quite nicely.
A smile on my face, and anybody that listened last week will probably know why. All will become pretty apparent shortly. But yeah, just got back, so I'm a bit sweaty. I've also not had the time to write any script. So for those listening, if this is potentially the most unprofessional of these you've heard, there's probably a reason for it. But yeah, we'll try and keep it lighthearted and fun. We've obviously got this game week, and then
There's a
next week
script.
we'll do a little review.
That's a
We'll have a
reveal for
script.
me.
Have a script. Oh,
I
that's
thought I
something
thought
new.
I thought I thought it was a natural charm.
Well, always off
Yeah.
cuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely catch up next week to see how we finish the season and do some season reviews as well. But yeah, excited, mate. Excited. Yeah, you're right. I would be quite happy for the season to continue. But it is what it is. End of game week 37, going into the game week 38. Let's have a look at what we're looking at today. So we're going to review game week 37. You'll see why the smile's on my face. Have a look at the last game week fun. What I mean by that is for those of you that are listening that might be chasing in your mini league, we're going to look at some under 15% differentials that you can bring into your team to try and catch up. Also, look at game week 38, captains ahead of our team reveals. And with one game week to go, we will look at the FPL Apprentice Mini League to see who leads the way and who can claim the title. Remember, whoever wins that gets to give me some form of Fantasy Premier League um, forfeit, as Matt beat me in Matt versus Dave. So I be pleasant whoever wins that. But we will start with game week 37 reviews, mates, as we always do, and we're going to keep mine until second. So I'll let you jump
Nice.
in.
That's the big reveal. Yeah, so I got 57 points, which was above par. So that's like a 1.2 mil game week rank. So then I had a small green arrow. I was at 105k rank. So I had I think I've had 2 red arrows in a row, which has been a bit different for me the second half of the season. Lost a bit of a momentum, but I've squeezed into the top 100k. And yeah, I think if I'm looking at overall objectives now, I'd love to stay sub 100k, of course. And if not that, I'd love to. Well, a big aspiration. I think I've done this every season, bar one. Is I want to finish with my best overall rank of the season. Right, it's always nice to finish on that height. Right, so I believe the highest I've been this year is 85k 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that's my stretching goal. My more realistic one is to try and maintain that sub 100k overall rank, and then probably the more realistic one, the one that I hopefully I'll be able to achieve, is making sure I don't have my worst rank ever, which I think is 115k. So yeah, we'll see how it ends. But yeah, above par week. Before I go into my team and kind of who did well, who didn't do so well, I think it's some of the highly owned players that I don't know. Eze's killing me again with another
Yeah,
like
you just can't stop
it's
scoring.
no, well, and I mean like you know he's a very good player, a very obvious pick as well. So I'm just kicking myself that I went down a route, a pathway that meant that I got on a Mateta rather than Eze. So yeah, being punished by that. But like yeah, some of the kind of highly unpaid players I don't know have been doing very well. What I would say this week, I've got relatively lucky, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I can feel grateful that I squeezed that kind of green arrow. I was certainly expecting a red after the first. It was a long game week, wasn't it? So yeah, the first kind of like night, I was expecting a red. So I've done all right. So my team, yeah, Raya in goal with a clean sheet. I did bench Kiwior. Obviously, the thing that changed was Isak not starting for Newcastle. I reckon if I knew Isak was out, I might have played Kiwior actually. I think that kind of really does blunt.
You're ahead of.
Newcastle's attack, right? So yeah, got kind of rare, which is cool. Bench Q, but I wasn't aware of the kind of
Who
Isaac.
would if you did air the Isaac news? Who would you have benched?
Munoz or Sarr, I'd say, just because of the FA Cup factor, and you know, I think Wolves aren't bad.
Yeah.
Well, they've been very good. We'll talk. Like, I think that'll be an interesting thing when we do our season wrap up. Who's been doing good the final third? Wolves will definitely be up there. They've been like kind of actually very, very good, very, very decent recently. So they're probably Munoz, or kind of maybe Sarr push. But yeah, rest of my defense, yeah, Ray got his clean sheet. Munoz got kind of like just the 1 point. City, yeah, kind of like conceded almost like a irrelevant late goal.
Yeah.
But that didn't really damage me because I think actually their defense is very highly owned. Guardiola, pretty much everyone has, and a lot of people have double defense, so that kind of actually worked to my favor. And then
Honestly,
yeah,
it did, and I'll tell you
yeah,
how I know because I looked at my overall rank, saw that City conceded,
yeah,
looked at my overall rank again, and I'd gone up. I was fuming
yeah.
about them conceding so late, but it actually worked out.
No, it certainly
Yeah.
did. Yeah, the effective ownership, I think, at high ranks was over 100%. So yeah, that kind of worked out. And then constantly, whenever a defender gets a goal on a haul, um, is lucky. But yeah, kind of like I kind of won the luck of the draw there. So yeah, 15 points. Obviously, yeah, kind of incredibly kind of happy with that. And there were some kind of other fairly well owned defenders who did well, right? So I think. Cucurella was kind of one. Of course, I know
Mhm.
he's not like properly highly owned, but like yeah, he's in a smattering of teams, and I think for Forest got 12, 13 points of kind of fairly relatively kind of like with fairly large ownership. So yeah, some big defender kind of scores. Yeah, into me midfield, I brought in Palmer for who did I bring him in for? Um,
Good question. Saka? No, you got rid of
It's
Saka,
been a
didn't
long
you?
time ago. No, I did two moves. So I got rid of Savino finally, and I
Savino.
also got rid of Mateta for Evan Nielsen. So
Yeah.
this would be a roll of the dice. I have to say, I did think Palmer was the best captain, and he was okay in the game. I think Jackson out harmed him. He didn't really do anything from a goal threat. I think that there was a few nice assist opportunities, but yeah, I guess that was more the a hit and hope kind of move, but also kind of
Yeah.
captaincy. So like, yeah, I was kind of worrying when he blanks, given like the high ownership of other players. But yeah, Salah blanked, and then yeah, and Boomer, that was a hell of a swing that I got lucky, right? Is that obviously he got his assist, but assist
Even
didn't he? He got an assist and then missed the
goal.
penalty, right?
Got a goal.
No, he got a goal. Yeah, he got a goal. Then got the missed penalty. Wow, that was hell of
Yeah.
a swing, right? So I could have been
It
looking at a
was.
highly owned, 100% effective, 100% plus effective owned Mbumo, who I would have captained if I didn't bring in Palmer, who would have scored 16 points. Actually, he's a midfielder, and so he'd have been
Done
18
pretty
points.
well. It had,
Yeah, 18 points, 15, 18
would have
points, I
got
think.
10 for his goals, 10 for his goals, and then
Three
three
bonus,
bonus, you'd imagine. So around
three
15.
bonus, two. And did they keep a clean sheet?
Let's get
No.
conceded twice, if I'm not mistaken. In
Yeah.
fact, three. They
Well,
got beat
15
3-2.
points.
Got beat 3-2 by Fulham.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah, kind of, and yeah, kind of they scored some late goals, didn't he? But yeah, that was a hell of a swing. So that's why I'm saying I kind of got lucky. Yeah, Rogers and
Yeah.
Sarge kind of chipped in, but like it didn't really do enough. Like if I'm comparing to Eze, and then yeah, I kept kind of Marmoush had a decision to move out Mateta or Marmoush. I thought, hey, kind of like I know he was rested one game, but I think generally he's been starting even periods when Haaland's there. So yeah, he got his goal, so we're kind of happy that I got that call right. I did start Isaac. Evan Nilsson came in for 2 points, so yeah, not too shabby there. But yeah, I'm feeling relatively fortunate actually. I think this could have been a disastrous kind of game week, and I got away with it mainly because of the Konsa getting a goal, which you can't really predict, and Mbumo missing a
Take him.
penalty. And I can't remember him missing a penalty, right?
He's
So
never first
yeah, I
first
kind of
penalty
got
he's ever
I
missed.
got fortunate. Really, yeah. As a fact, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I think there might be a delay, by the way. Sorry if it feels like I'm talking over you, Matt. But yeah, first. Sorry, I rephrased that. It's the first penalty he's ever missed for Brentford.
Who did he play before?
Good question. No idea.
Was that for Cameroon as well?
Aye, I could be. It could include Cameroon, to be fair. But
Yeah.
yeah, first one he's missed for Brentford.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. So like there are some higher owned players that scored well, notably Eze, that I don't own, but grand scheme of things, I got away with it. Like a Consa goal, you can't really predict, and like yeah, and Boomer missing a penalty again, you can't predict. So, yeah, a good week overall. I was kind of like excited for that Palmer captaincy, and I think going in, maybe it was foolish because of form, but I think fixtures breed form. But unfortunately, Manchester United did play a solid team, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw
they did.
those
Yeah.
teams, and Spurs played an absolute terrible team, and I was fearful of Watkins, who was like really, really, really highly owned. I was actually surprised,
Yeah.
like so he could have been an alternative for me to brought in instead of Palmer, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've made a hell of a mistake here. So yeah, I think I got away with it a little bit.
Take a green arrow.
No,
Right?
exactly, mate.
Take it.
Exactly. But I mean, yeah, I've got Evan Nilsson now for next this coming game week, and yeah, he's got a prime
Pretty
fixture
set.
against Leicester home, right? So I think that's kind of one problem kind of solved. But mate, more interestingly, big drum roll. Let's do your reveal.
Well, just the 85 points for me this game
Wow,
week.
wow,
Pretty
wow, bravo,
unsurprisingly pretty
fair
happy.
play.
You know what? And I got greedy because I looked at that and I was like, oh man, if I'd have just played Raya instead of Henderson, got him. I'd have broke 90. But I can't look. I'm not going to complain. A game week rank of 10,000
Wow,
is it's going to be in my top 3 game week ranks of all time. Potentially my best ever game week rank.
ten
So
thousand.
to ruin the
I've
main
never had.
reasons, it was
Oh, sorry, mate. I've got a hell of a lag as well. So and sorry for
no,
everyone listening.
yeah.
But
Honestly, I
right.
yeah, you.
Yeah, 10,000. I think I've never had a 10,000 game week rank. I think the best I've had is 20,000. So that's incredible. And like to have it in game week 37,
It's a good time to have it.
halving your score. Wow.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game week. The main things, and again, I feel hard done by because of Mbumo. You know, I ended up putting the captaincy on him instead of Watkins. The guy scores, gets a penalty. I'm like, oh, this guy's on for a double digit return, and then for the first time ever, misses a penalty for Brentford.
Yeah.
So I felt a bit hard done by there, but yeah, I'm not going to complain. I mean, you know, for those that are watching, you can see the reason I got 85. For those that are listening on Spotify or just listening on YouTube, I'll run through my team. Henderson goal, just the 1 point for him. Bench Ray, I just thought Newcastle were on a bit of form, probably going to score against Arsenal, and I fancied Palace at home over that. So yeah, it didn't work out. Obviously, Raya kept a clean sheet and Henderson didn't, but the rest of the team, Guardiola didn't really hurt me too much. You know, as you said before, Man City won by over 100% in effective ownership, so it didn't really matter to me. I also had Concert, got his goal, got his assist, got his 3 bonus points. And then Nico Williams, interestingly, despite the fact Forest conceded against West Ham, still got 2 bonus points, so he ended up picking up 4,
Mm.
showing how good he was in the game. Across the midfield, Salah with 2, Sarr with 5, Rogers with 6, and Mbumo captain got 5 points, so doubled to 10. Saka, who's been a bit of a disappointment for me all season, well, not all season, but in the last sort of 5 game weeks I've had him, 3 points. No attacker return for him. And then up front, a bit of damage. Wissa got 10 thanks to a goal, an assist, and a yellow card. Probably should have been sent off, so I got very fortunate there. And then even more fortunately, I had Isaac on the pitch. I had Marmoush on the bench. Isaac obviously didn't play. On comes Marmoush for 8 points. Not a bad player to get off the bench. But the big one was my transfer this week. I sold Pep, went for the bonus gamble, bought in Hurzeler after watching Liverpool on the beach all week, and Brighton won 3-2. So I got a 19-point return for Hurzeler. So plus 10 points based on comparing them to Pep. So yeah, it took me to 85 points overall. Game week rank from 114k down to 58,000. my best rank, mate, this game week was in game week 19, and it was 57,795. So I'm very close to it. So I'd love I want to break. I'm greedy to again. Minimum top 50k because I've still got my assistant manager for another game week. So I think minimum I want to break top 50k, and then we'll see how I play my assistant manager. If I play out on another bonus, I could be breaking top 40.
Oh,
My best ever rank's
easy.
42. So
Yeah, I'd be going for that top rank. I think that's achievable given like how many people are playing chips like that. It's going to be next to no one. So you got one hell of a advantage. So yeah, tell me the logic and the feelings with like Hurzeler. So like, firstly, like bringing him in rather than keeping Pep, and I know you had other options like kind of transferring in Watkins, for example, for Isaac or Marmoush, and then also tell me the emotions of actually the game because it was an up and down game.
and it's a weird one because I'm a Liverpool fan, right? So I'm
Yeah.
sat there watching Liverpool play, and part of me's going, "Yeah, we've already won the league, so this doesn't really matter." So I wouldn't mind Brighton getting a result. But to be honest with you, mates, the logic, but I wanted it was all about who's going to give me the biggest ceiling at this point of the season. And I looked at Watkins, right? And I'm sat there looking at Watkins and thinking, my attack, the 7 players I've got on the pitch, are all capable of getting returns. So I don't really want to sell any just to force Watkins in. So that kind of ruled him out. Because I'd have felt what I'd have ended up doing is getting rid of Wissa or Marmoush. Well, they both outscored him. And I knew going into the game week, they could easily outscore him based on their fixtures. So yeah, getting Watkins in didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Didn't really want to get rid of any of my attackers. So it then came down to do a defensive move and maybe, you know, I don't know, sell Burn and bring in somebody that had a nice home fixture. Or do we go all out? Do we get rid of Pep? I know we had Bournemouth at home, and do I bring in somebody that might have a table bonus? And the reason I went for Hurzeler, mate, is because number one, I'd seen Liverpool on the beach, literally. Slot was in Ibiza, the Liverpool players were in Dubai. So I knew that Liverpool weren't going to take it too seriously. And then secondly, I looked at Brighton's fixtures at home against the big six this season. And ahead of Liverpool, they'd played obviously 5 of them. They had won 3, drew 2, and they hadn't lost against any of the big six at home. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking they've got a home record. They're still fighting for Europe. They've got points to play for. Liverpool haven't. So I could quite easily see Brighton getting something out of this game. And that was it. That was the logic behind it. And thought I'll trust my gut. Went for it, and yeah, it worked out.
Um, uh, do you still hate the chip?
Yeah. Oh, it's
No.
worked out beautifully, right? I'm on over the 2 weeks so far. I'm on 24 points, and I've got one
It
game week left.
it
So
would
yeah, I
be
can't complain.
it'd be really interesting to see actually when we net things out and look at your score, my score, but also kind of like us against like the kind of wider, massive engaged players. Yeah. Has anyone actually lost out on assistant manager? Because it seems like most of the kind of common times that people have played it, bar a few like the options, like it's scored pretty well, right? So I think
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe the net gains of this sort of stuff aren't that massive because everyone has scored pretty well. But yeah,
similar.
it's been fun, and obviously, like, yeah, come on, when you have a week like this, it's amazing. I think I don't know if you feel the same, but yeah, I think a lot of us predicted it, but that table bonus is just such a powerful piece, especially with like the dynamics of the season. Like you said, Liverpool being away on the beach, and then some teams going through manager changes, and then like getting form. Like that table bonus is really worth the roll of the dice, and sometimes it's not even that much roll of a dice, to be honest, right? So I think,
Yeah,
yeah, that if that chip comes back again next season, even if it's changed a little bit, if that table bonus piece is there, it's a super generous prize to go after.
yeah, yeah. And is that what you'll be doing next season with it? Just look at the table bonus and go bing. Or like this season, is there going to be more of a well, if it's a double game week on like City or Liverpool, stick it on a slot or a pep?
You'd prioritize doubles, and then you'd prioritize maybe a bit of maybe table bonus if you could kind of get that. That was definitely the route I took.
Yeah,
But yeah, mate, fair play. Good job there. It's kind of like, yeah, kind of really happy for you actually, mate. I know. So yeah, your team
yeah.
you kind of started off really well. And then it's been like a long slog until the last couple ones. So yeah, nice that you're getting your best ever rank this season is in touch
Hopefully, it's on the
distance. I know
cards.
and your best rank ever,
Yeah.
right? I think that's achievable as well.
Yeah.
A good final week. So yeah, congrats. It's nice to see this. A lot of the time it's doom and gloom, but it's really great.
Yeah. And we'll see. We've got some bonus managers this weekend, so we'll see what I do. We'll come on to that later on. But the next one is last game week fun, mate. What I thought would do is there's going to be a lot of people listening here that are chasing. So I thought, well, let's have a look at who the players are that you might look at if you are chasing and you want to catch somebody up in your mini league. So what I've got for you here, mate, is 10 players, predicted points, under 15% effective ownership, alongside the teams that have the best fixtures in the last game week. And unsurprisingly, Bournemouth are top as they're at home to Leicester, and 3 of their players are in the top 4 for expected points. No brainer, right?
Yeah, I think it's the first 5 plus maybe De Bruyne, right? I think so Clive, Evan Nielsen, Bowen, Semenyo are all kind of great. Kicking myself up Bowen is like he's doing great, of course, because he's one of these really good solid players, and I got rid of him just the wrong time. But yeah, Bowen is in great form, good underlying stats, and Ipswich away. So yeah, outside of Leicester boys, I think he's looking good. And then De Bruyne, I think for sentimental kind of like reasons, could be an interesting option. So yeah, there's some nice ones to have fun. I think really chasing this week, I think it's going to be more of a captaincy consideration if I am being honest. I think some of these players pick themselves, right? I think a lot of people, if they have a couple of free transfers, are going to target Bournemouth attackers. I'd be surprised if some of these players are still under 15% ownership. I think that'd be quite a logical, especially if there's team leaks, right? Because all the teams start at the same time. If it's like the obvious Bournemouth players are playing, I think that they're going to be quite highly under. It'll be like quite an obvious and easy transfer for people to do. So I reckon the chasing element, it's going to be more difficult with some of those players. I think, all those players are obvious, right? Yeah, all the Bournemouth attackers, and then Bowen and De Bruyne, I feel like are relatively accessible and relatively obvious. I think probably the more interesting conversation for chasing is around captaincy. I think there's, we'll talk about captaincy in a second, but Saka is a doubt around minutes and also kind of form where he might have been the standout. Salah will probably be the standout, but he's been in bad form for 2 months, and like Liverpool, like you said, maybe kind of switched off a little bit. So I think captaincy is an option as well as these players. I don't know if you think that's a fair comment.
Absolutely. Now there is that thought. Liverpool last home game of the season. They're going to live the trophy after the game. They really want to go out without a win. So I think Liverpool will show up this week, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Salah will get the sponsored by Google Pixel out for a selfie.
Yeah, absolutely. In front of the cop, bang.
He's probably going to get a penalty.
You're right.
He'll probably get a penalty when you're right.
Yeah, but you're right. If you're chasing, would you take the gamble, right? Captain Clivert, captain of Bowen. I don't hate that as an idea. If you're 20 points behind, it's a nice way that you can make up some ground, right? Now you have to get fortunate, granted, but if you've got nothing to lose, right, you can play with a bit more freedom.
Yeah, no, spot on. Agree. But yeah, I think some of these guys, good low ownership. I think effective ownership of engaged ranks or ranks that 100k and above are going to be quite high effective ownership. And I think a lot of Bournemouth will get a lot of transfers in for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah. Is there anybody else? Like you're looking at that team, like Spurs just off the back of the win of the Europa League, maybe bringing
Trossard
in
or Havertz could be kind of interesting.
Yeah, Havertz being back, of course. Yeah. Arsenal winning that.
Yeah, I think that those are the ones really, rather than pushing it more than that. Yeah, I think
Liam Delap, last potential last game for Ipswich.
West Ham have been good, haven't they? I know that. That's tongue in cheek, but he's pretty poor, and West Ham have been decent kind of recently. Yeah, I think some of depending on what the Arsenal kind of lineup is, and we'll see if we get some leaks that could be quite interesting as some like low-end differentials. I think someone like Trossard certainly has big returns in him.
Yeah, nice. There you go, captain. What advice from Matt? Captain one of the Bournemouth players. If you are cheating, if you had to pick me, Kluivert, Evan-Nielsen, Semenyo, who are you going? You can only bring one in.
Ooh. That definitely isn't my advice. I think they're all minutes risks. The problem, like Semenyo doesn't really excite me too much. He's the worst of them, right? But probably has the best minutes. Their form has been bad as well recently. It's not been great.
So you're dodging him. So it's Kluivert and Evan-Nielsen. Bearing in mind, Kluivert got subbed at half time at the weekend.
Yeah, this is the issue. These guys have got. What was the score at half time though?
Good question.
Were they like 2-0 down
I'll
already?
look it
up. Yeah, I won't captain any of them.
They could have been. Yeah, they got beat 3-1, didn't they? Don't captain any. Okay, stick with Salah.
I don't
What
even
about
know
Isaac?
what I'd like the best out of them. I think Evan-Nielsen is the best, and then Kluivert versus Semenyo. It's a tough one. I know expected points here, according to Fix, it's saying it's 6.1 versus 4.9. I think that's quite high on Kluivert.
I suppose my question then, potentially because he's the pen taker, right? So maybe they've promoted Kluivert's points there. But you've got Evan-Nielsen.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're not disappointed out of the three.
I'm
You're
not
like,
loving
oh,
it.
I wish I had Kluivert.
I think I prefer Visser, which was definitely an option for my team
Oh,
instead
right.
of have Visser, like just because of his kind of form. But like, yeah, of course, a striker against Leicester home, you got to like that. Well, I'm not loving it. Bournemouth has really like struggled recently. But yeah, Kluivert is probably after Evan-Nielsen the nicest one. If we get a leak and if he's starting, which you'd imagine he would, right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be quite a stretch
absolutely.
for them to just shake it up completely.
I'm with you. Well, so whilst we were, so don't captain a Bournemouth player is what you're saying, but let's have a look at who we may captain. Considering we haven't wrote a script for this one, that was quite a nice little segue that I just did there. I'm quite happy with that. Game week 38, looking at captain options, Salah, unsurprisingly, top of the shop for expected points at home to Crystal Palace, followed by Kluivert, Saka, Haaland, and Evan-Nielsen. I've noticed Isaac isn't on the list. He's at home to Everton, potentially because they're expecting him to maybe not be fit in time. But if he is, would you put him maybe second on this list?
So I think Salah is probably the clear favourite, and I think you've hinted at some of the reasons why he could be right. So I think you're right that Salah is the favourite. Then I say it's Saka. Right, I disagree that Kluivert would be high. I know the difference here on expected points is 5.9 for Saka versus 6.1 for Kluivert. There's probably a bit of a minutes piece playing into the equation there. Right? I do like Saka for that if he's starting. I then I like Isaac if assuming he starts, and I like Watkins as well, who's not appearing on here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're going Salah.
but it feels like it's going to be quite. Yeah, it feels like it's a boring one, right? It's probably Salah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
When I was mapping stuff out like a few game weeks ago, and obviously you want to have a view of what you're going to do in a couple of weeks and what paths it forces you in. Well, I was like, I'm going to get Palmer. It was always like my plan from a few weeks before. It was like, okay, I'll get Palmer for this week, captain him, and I'll move him to Saka to captain it. That just seems like dead in the water, completely dead. And I don't really know why. I think it's just Saka hasn't performed, and then it's like second is done and dusted now, and it's like, why would he even play when he's their best player, right? And has been injured and is probably recovering. Why wouldn't you not just give him the summer off? It's not in the front of the home fans. Like, why would he even play?
I hope he does because I've got him still. So I'm hoping he gets a game and actually gets me a return. He's been a poor own for the last 5-6 weeks. I've had him, to be honest. Not been great since. I think I must have bought him in on my wild card. So he's been a painful own. Not done anything.
Well, you got a few points from him. I remember him getting decent returns from like combined 30 minutes. Yeah, when he was coming on as a sub.
Yeah, last few weeks has been pretty bad. But how would you make Salah? Salah, and I'm not looking anywhere else. You
Yeah.
know, I need to. I don't like playing with effective ownership, but number one, it protects my rank, and number two, it's just the best option.
Yeah, I think so.
Not
I
the
think
best
when you've
game.
got
Palace are yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I think sorry mate, it's that lag again. I think
Yeah,
when there's expected points according to Fix or any other algorithm, that it's got like such a gap here, it kind of does suggest that there's a real obvious choice, right? 7.5 expected points. So there's a
yeah.
Clive and Saka next at 6.1 and 5.1. That's a gap in it. That does
It
tell
is.
you quite obvious that he's the sensible option.
Yeah, and they'll be up for it because of the trophy lift. But there you go. Game week 38 reveals, Matt. We'll start with yours. What are you planning to do ahead of the final game week of the season?
Yeah, so I think mine is looking okay, right? So I've got one free transfer coming in. I'm planning to start double Arsenal defence and keeper. So Raya and Kiwi will be playing. I'll then play Vardio and Livramento. Vardio's away to Fulham, and Livramento's home to Everton. Yeah, the Arsenal boys are playing Southampton away, of course. I think that's quite a decent backline. I'm happy with that. I'm happy. Yeah, pretty cool with that. I think Newcastle. Well, they need to win and win well. So I think that's a really nice fixture, right? I think they can blow teams away
Absolutely.
at St James's Park, right? So I think that's happy with that. Midfield, I think there's room for improvement, but Mbumo, everyone's got him, great player. Salah will be captain at the moment. Then I've got Palmer and Rogers, so we'll come back to both of those boys. The forward line looks good. Evan Nilsson, Isak, Marmoush, right? And I think again, there's teams that have got things to play for. Bournemouth, I mean, Europe at a stretch, but they're probably out of the running now. But it's the last home game against a really bad team, and it's a great best season Bournemouth have ever had, really. So yeah, that'd be ripe for a big win. If Isak is going to start, I'm kind of really cool having him. I think that's a very good fixture for him. And again, Marmoush, I'm happy that City need a win and win well, and I'm pretty certain he's within their best 11. Right, that's not overcomplicated.
Yeah.
That's kind of playing. Might even be on penalties actually, given he took a penalty.
No. Yeah.
In the FA Cup, but yeah, that was kind of a bit weird. So with my one free transfer, looking at my 11, I think obviously comes with the caveat. Well, not the caveat, the disclaimer. I'm going to wait as late as possible to try and get leaks, given all the teams are starting at the same time. So obviously, if Isak is out, I'll bring in Watkins. Right, that's kind of like if I can afford him. Right, I need to check that. But yeah, if I can, I think that would be a super obvious move. If Isak is fit, let's assume he's fit, then I think Rogers and Palmer are the players I can upgrade, right? Teams that are away, both teams got stuff to play for, Chelsea and Villa, which is cool. However, yeah, if I was to make a move, it would be either Palmer to Saka or Rogers to a Bournemouth attacker, Clive or Semenyo. I think those are that's kind of where I can maximize my returns. Like so. I know you've got Palmer, Saka like listed there. Also, that's a big if Saka starts.
Yes.
Rogers versus Palmer. Still, I think Palmer is better. Let's remember, Palmer scored 220 points this season. In many years, that would be by far the best scorer of the year, right? Chelsea are a good team, right? And they've got a lot to play for, and they are playing a Forest team that will need to win, right? So I think that opens opportunities. Now, Rogers is good, but let's remember his expected goal involvement is 0.3. But over the season and also recently, he's kind of running hot, right? He's a player we like. Actually, I mean, I think we can say we're early adopters, right? When in our preseason drafts, like
I had him a long time.
Yeah, we had him preseason drafts, so yeah, early adopters there. But no, just kidding. But yeah, Palmer is better than Rogers, right?
Yeah.
I think he's on penalties, he's on set pieces, and like his stats are blow Rogers away. His points he's scored this season blows him away. Rogers has kind of run hot at times, but like I think I'm probably leaning towards the Rogers kind of piece because like Saka, there's a bit of uncertainty with him, and I think with the Bournemouth guys, actually, that could be a hammering, right, against Leicester.
Yeah,
Southampton have been okay. Saka's minutes will be managed. Who knows? Kluivert's might be managed, but yeah, I think maybe Kluivert or Semenyo has probably more return. So despite me saying Palmer to Saka, there it might be a Rodgers to Kluivert or Rodgers to Semenyo move could be better. But those are the two boys that I'm targeting. Rodgers and
yeah.
Palmer are the ones I could sacrifice. What are your thoughts, mate?
Again, I think that could be fine. Hopefully he'll be fine. So yeah, you're definitely keeping him. But
Yep.
yeah, I absolutely agree that the other 9 in your starting 11 are all fine.
Mhm.
I've gone off Palmer. I think I've kind of given him a bit of a hard time last week, but I also trust, as I have most of the season, the Forest defence when push comes to shove. So I'm not a big fan of Chelsea away at Forest. Both teams need to win, right? I think that could be a very cagey affair.
Yeah.
I could easily see it being a 1-0 either way sort of game.
Yeah.
So I'd stay away from it. And yeah, I want to. How are United going to be? Just lost the Champions League. Know they're going to finish in the bottom what? The highest they can come is what 14th maybe. They're not going to be in Europe. All their players and their manager are talking about leaving. I think Villa need to win to potentially get in the Champions League. I could think Villa could show up at Old Trafford and put 3 in. Just they're on a bounce,
Well,
and
they need to score
United are
12
not.
goals. They need their goal difference needs to shift by 12 to get ahead of
12.
Chelsea. Yeah.
They could score 12 at Old Trafford.
Um,
Maybe not. Maybe not that much. But I just think they're in a much better position against a team that are just done. I don't think United. I know it's their last home game of the season, but the way the season's gone for them, I don't think they're going to be up for it at all. I think that's it. They just want it to end. So
yeah,
I
no,
prefer Rodgers and
agreed.
Palmer.
Chelsea, Villa have a better chance of beating United versus Chelsea against Forest. But then it's Rodgers versus Palmer. Is
Yeah,
the
Villa don't need to swing the goal difference. As long as they win, they finish on 69 points. And then they just need to hope Chelsea don't win or Newcastle don't win.
well, yeah, you can't do
And then
that,
they get
can't you?
Champions League football.
Yeah. Well, it's the
No,
same applies to Chelsea.
so
The same applies to Chelsea. The same applies for
it
Forest,
does.
right? So,
It does.
um,
As long as
the
people
question
score goals in.
seems you prefer Rodgers over Palmer. Now, a question: if I was to move Palmer, would you move him to Saka, assuming Saka starts, or do you move him to Kluivert, assuming he starts?
Oh, it's a question, isn't it? If they're guaranteed to start, it's a guaranteed to start. I'd go Saka. I
Mm,
think mainly because over the season he's got better expected goal involvement per 90. He's
yeah,
also takes corners. Clive doesn't. They both take pens, but he gets some set piece duties to Saka. And over most of the season, Arsenal have been pretty good at scoring off corners. Granted, Gabriel and Saliba might not be in the squad, so makes it a bit more difficult to score off them. But you've got to take a corner to have a chance, right?
yeah.
And
Kluivert's
he's,
been really
he's
bad as
that
well. He's. I know it's been tough fixtures for Bournemouth recently, but he's been bad. Yeah, I'm tempted.
Saka should have scored against Liverpool. I know he didn't, but he should have scored
No.
against Liverpool. He did score against Real Madrid. Did he not get a goal against PSG? So he's okay. He's not been getting them in the Premier League, but he's been active. He's been uh, getting the chances. So for that
Nice
reason, I'd
spot.
go Saka.
Nice spawn. I was just looking quickly on just the FPL fight kind of site, just looking at like the underlying stats recently. Jesus, like stood out. Ollie Watkins has got 184 points for the season, 16 goals, 8 assists. That's mad, right? How
I mean,
like
he's
under the
been
radar it's been.
benched so much. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
been benched
Oh,
loads.
he's got 2,500 minutes as well, that's pretty
Yeah,
good
good
as well.
returns.
Uh,
Interesting. I didn't realize he had that many points. Fair play.
Rogers
Yeah. So
160 as well. So, yeah. But you're all about Saka then, yeah?
I'm about Saka over, but I mean, like, obviously take that with interpret that however you want to interpret it. But yeah, I'm very much I'd be keeping Rodgers. I just feel like that, as I say, Forest Chelsea is going to be a cagey affair, whereas I think Villa can comfortably beat United.
Yeah,
So for that
no.
reason, I reckon three
Well,
goals for Villa and maybe 1 goal for Chelsea.
no, that's that makes sense. But yeah, cool. But yeah, it's going to be what I think it's going to be. If he's acts out, he'll become Watkins. That's quite easy. And then Rodgers or Palmer, they're both okay. It's going to be one of them to either a Saka or a Bournemouth midfielder. I think those are the only viable options I've got with my team. But more interesting, let's move on to yours, mate, and let's talk about. Surely it's going to be assistant manager kind of move. So yeah, kind of who's on your shortlist?
Well, I am very much looking at that. So 1 free transfer, 0.8 million in the bank. Very similar backline to you, the 2 Arsenal boys and Guardiola. I've then got Burn instead of Livramento. Quite happy with that. Much prefer that to Williams or Conser, so I'll stick with that back 4. Fairly happy with the midfield. In fact, to be honest, I'm fairly happy with my front 11. Unless it comes out, my front 7, should I say. Unless it comes out that Isaac is injured, and then, that'll probably force my hand. I'll have to make a transfer there. And Mbemo, Salah, Saka, Rodgers, keep them. Marmoush, Isaac, and Wissa, probably keep them. The only thing I could maybe do is Marmoush to Evan Nielsen. Feels pretty forced. Or I could move Sarr out and get in Clivert or a Semenyo, but then who do a bench? So I'm kind of in that position like I was last week, where the sensible move is probably transfer Hurzeler out because he's no longer a bonus captain because he's playing Spurs.
Yeah.
The option is the easy move because I do think Bournemouth would probably beat Leicester is to go to Areola, just bank the 6 for the win, and if they get 2 goals and maybe a clean sheet, I might come out of it with 10 points, which would be a nice differential for me because, as you said before, not many people have still got chips left, so it'll get me 10 points further up. Or do I look at Ange? He's at
Yeah.
home to Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
They've just come off the back of winning the Europa League, so they will be on for a bounce. Tell you what's put me off. 2 things, mate. 2 things. Tottenham have got nothing to play for in the league. Brighton have got an outside chance of getting European football if they finish 8th, and they're in the driving seat. If they win, they get 8th, guaranteed. Also, Tottenham have got a trophy parade on Friday with the Europa League, 2 days before the game. I reckon most of their players will still be hungover. Just won a trophy, right? And they've got Champions League football, so that's putting me off a bit. Where do you stand on Ange?
I go Spurs straight away. The Spurs were a better team than Brighton anyway.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
League table doesn't suggest, but I know what you mean by that, by the way. I know what you mean. I do know. I do, yeah. They are,
Yeah.
generally, they are.
Like if you do players for player, there's far better.
There's
Yeah.
nobody really else in that the bonus that stands out because you're looking at what Ipswich maybe West Ham, but I'm not really going to put it
No.
on Ipswich, Southampton, and Arsenal. I'm not going to put it on Southampton, so it kind of whittles down my choices.
You can go
So
Wolves.
I'm kind of stuck.
Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Wolves are 5
It's Wolves or
behind.
Spurs are the options really, and I think you've got to like. I don't think it's enough of a sure thing to actually move it to Bournemouth, right?
If that Leicester could get something there.
Oh, probably not. But like, what's the upside that you're going to get?
Defend, defend myself against because if I'm going to do that as a transfer, I'm obviously not going to have a Semenyo, Clivert, or an Evan Nielsen.
Yeah,
So a little bit of it is a protection.
I get it. I get it. I personally be looking at Spurs or Wolves, and I'd probably be. There's a bigger gap between them. I just don't like Bryce.
And Wolves without Cunha, by the way, because obviously now that he's off to Man United, they're not playing the lad.
Yep.
He
They're
won
at
bench last
home.
game. Didn't see the pitch. They're at
Yeah,
home. Yeah, they are at home.
they're both at home, and they've been good without. They've been they've had their form has started when he's had 5-game bans as well, right? So they're good enough without him, right? Strand Larsen is a good striker. They can score some goals. I just
How
think
do yeah.
I think Spurs are better than Wolves, despite the table. I think Spurs are better than Wolves, and I think Brentford are better than Brighton, despite the table.
Yeah, it's
Even
only
if
one
that sounds
place
like
behind, right?
even if that says like counterintuitive. I mean, like
Gee.
goal difference is always quite a good indication. Goal difference for Brighton is +4 for the year. They are artificially high. Brentford is +9. Wolves is -15 for the year. Spurs is +2. That's
And the what? 17th.
Yeah, like all the other teams around them are like -45, and then like United, West Ham -18, Wolves -15, Palace is 0. They got the same goal
They're
difference
plus.
as Fulham.
So the only team out of interest, though, are they the only team in the bottom half with a plus goal difference?
Well, Bournemouth are 11th, +10.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Uh,
How
I
would you
really
feel with this team going in without a Bournemouth player at all?
okay. You got better
It's not
players,
worth a
right?
hit.
Saka's
It's not worth a
Saka's
hit, is it?
no for who? Visser is probably as good
That's it.
as Visser's as good as Evan Nilsson. Like, Evan Nilsson does flatter to the sea. I think next year will be a big year for him, but like he's not on penalties, neither is Visser. But like he never gets double digit returns, and he loves getting a yellow card. So you got a better front line. Marmoush and Isak are better. Saka is better than any of the Bournemouth midfielders. I think we decided.
Yeah.
Like, and you seem to kind of quite like Rogers as well. So it's certainly not worth a -4, right? So yeah, I think for me, I'd be going Ange, right?
Hurzeler to
Um,
Ange. Big Ange chase another 19 points haul from a manager.
they could get goals, right? I mean, that's a team that could win.
Yeah. They can score. It would just drunk football. Drunk football could win.
No fear.
No fear. No fear. And unlike United, it's like I'm reveling as a Liverpool fan in United's misery. I am a little bit. They did win for the first 20 years I was into football, so it's about time. Anyway, but
I mean,
unlike United, they're going to be
they
on a bit
got
of a bounce, right?
they got pride to win, right? 17th is embarrassing. They can go up to 15th if they win. I mean,
You know what? One of the other slides said, mate, let's have some fun. That'd be a fun pick. And you'd be a very fun pick.
exactly. I think it's probably more fun than Wolves.
Yeah. Now, what I rarely heard is taking it off Hurzeler, putting it on Ange, and then Brighton win, and I've took it off Hurzeler. That hurt, but it'd be a bit of
I
fun.
I really don't rate Brighton.
Yeah, and they are better. They are much better at home, right? As a team. Yeah,
Spurs.
yeah.
I
I can
don't.
see it. I can see. I can see it. Well, yeah, it's good. Plenty to think about. I mean, what happened? So here's one for you, mate. If it turns out Isaac is injured, I don't really want to play him in any of a bench, right? Would you take a hit to move Hurzeler to Ange?
Yes.
So do Isaac Watkins or something similar, and then Hurzeler to Ange as well.
Yeah, we'll just play Saab. But yeah, I'd probably do the hit. Why not?
Yeah,
How many?
interesting.
Yeah, how many
Interesting.
points do you reckon Hurzeler would get this week? I mean, if you're saying, it's predicted points, I'd say Ange's probably 9 points. I'd say his predicted points are. I'd say if I'm right.
That's true because it's bonus, isn't it? So even if Tottenham Brighton's a draw, I'm getting eight for the draw plus goals and clean sheet points.
For sure.
So even a
I
draw
reckon.
is a minimum of 9.
Yeah, I reckon bookies odds to get a draw win for Spurs will be after Europe. I'd say it would be 65 plus, 65% plus.
So yeah,
And
even
then
a draw.
Hurzeler on the other side. What do you reckon his expected points would be? If you were just kind of like thinking of scenarios quickly in your head, doing some quick maths, like
I think it'll come out as a draw. So if it comes out as a draw, he'll be picking up 3 points plus a goal or two, maybe 4, 5. So it is a
yeah,
4 point difference, as you say.
that's a
So
tough one.
it takes care of the hit.
Wolves are good though as well.
I will see. We'll see. Time. I've got time. I've got time to think on
I don't
it.
know. It's a tough one.
Tough one. You might have talked me into Ange.
I mean, it's just fun, isn't it? But I don't know. I'd wait for bookies odds and see likelihood of a draw, likelihood of a clean sheet, likelihood of things. Wolves might be a better option though, just because.
Right, it's horrible, isn't it? Because I've got Wisser and Mbeumo on the team, so I kind of want Brentford to win that game. All eggs in one basket, maybe. But yeah, it's who we are, mate. It's who we are. I might go for him. He always wins a trophy in a second season, so we'll see. We'll see. I might back the man.
We're just getting hyped for me, yeah. We're just getting hyped for that quote, and
it's who we are, mate. But before we go on to the close, we will do a little update on where we are with our fantasy league. Jonas, firstly, mate, well done. You have been near the top or at the top of this league pretty much since game week 5, game week 6. You've had an outstanding season. 72 points this game week. A very, very, very good score for you. Going into the last game week with a 24-point difference, which is a really good, really, really good lead. Big points for you this week. Also had Conser back that clean sheet with a Martinez clean sheet. Has Bowen, who was a nice little differential for points.
Nice.
Eze and Sarr, as well as Watkins and Wisser up top, adding to 72 points, 122,000 game week rank, putting Jonas at world number 1,073.
Oh, get that top 1K.
Get top K, mate. Get top K. You have granted 24 points to go. Sam could have a great week. Josh could have a great week and catch you up. I think it's only fair to those three at the top that if anybody joins the league this week, they do not count for this competition. So the likelihood is one of those three are going to win it. But yeah, winner, whoever it is, whether it be you, Jonas, Sam, or Josh, you get to pick an FPL forfeit for me. So get your thinking cap on. But we will reconvene next week to see who does win out of the three of you. Sorry, Andy, in fourth. I'm kind of ruling you out. I'm going to assume it's in that top 3. But best of luck to you all. If you do want to join, although you can't win, but you do want to join ahead of next season, you still can join this league with T27 ZGC. That's Tango 27 Zulu Golf Charlie. But yeah, best of luck, boys. And Jonas, rooting for you to finish in the top 1,000 in the world, mate. Best of luck to you. And that brings us to the end. Potential penultimate episode, mate, of the season. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. I think I'm rooting for you, mate. I think there's not much I can do myself with my team. I'm a little bit snookered in terms of doing exciting stuff, and there's a relatively strong template. But yeah, I'm expecting big things from you, mate. Whether you go Wolves, whether you go Spurs as your assistant manager, or whether you're taking hits left, right, and centre, who knows? But yeah, I'm rooting for you, mate. I reckon you can get your best rank ever. That'll be pretty cool.
I hope so.
And what would that be? That'll be 3
days
in a row.
Yeah, so I've done last 2 seasons top 100k. I'm at 58k at the minute, so I'll be pretty disappointed if I end up dropping outside the top 100k. But I'm just having a look now. I am 32 points off 25k with a nice little manager bonus win. I'm dropping that to about 12. Well, maybe a bit more, maybe about 15.
Well, you have Saka, who's
not out the question.
Yeah, Saka's got low ownership, relatively speaking. Dan Burn might kind of come up with some ghost assists for you.
Goals. Oh, what a week that was.
This is not that. Yeah, I think it's like looking pretty exciting. Yeah, for me, mate. Yeah, I'm as I said before, I'd like to consolidate a top 100k finish. It might be tough doing it, but we shall see. And then yeah, like we'll think of what we do next week. We might split into 2 or just do it one thing. So obviously we'll kind of like wrap up the season for ourselves, and then we'll probably do a bit more detailed analysis in terms of what went well, what went not so well, what did we learn. I think that was actually quite cathartic doing that last year. It was a good exercise. You can see what points we left and what decisions. We'll probably do that in aggregate heroes and winners and whatever for the whole year, but then look at the season in chunks. It does feel like the season, particularly from an FPL point of view, you can kind of like segment it into like 2-month chunks, right? I think so we'll do something like that, and then talk about our own teams, the point scores there, and yeah, it'll be good episode. And then then we'll have a bit of a break, and I think the plan is we'll do some stuff in August as soon as the game is announced, looking at shortlists, players, fixtures, all that kind of good stuff, and we'll probably do a bit of a deep dive on the final third of this year, right? Because I think something that we were both just saying prior to this episode is that seems to stick every year is that teams that have a nice final third, that does tend to translate into the following year. I think we missed it with Palace this year. That didn't come through, but for Forest it certainly came through, right? And I know you were big on their defense, saying how good they were the second half of last season, and that translated really nicely into the first half of next year. So I think we'll probably do a bit of a review of what players and teams have done well. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. And the immediate focus now is your assistant manager kind of like pick, I think, is what excited. And I think, I wish you well, mate. I'm excited. I'm intrigued and excited.
If it goes well,
you got to go for Wolves or Spurs, surely.
Yeah, I feel a bit of fun. Game week 38, right? My best ever rank's 41,126. So if I can use the chip, even if I don't quite get to 25k there, that may be a little bit out. But if I can break the top 40k, it's my best ever finish. So might have a bit of fun with it and go for it. Why not?
That's job done as well, right? Wasn't that the whole purpose of us getting together was for you to get your best rank and then.
I was top 10k is kind of what I wanted. I was a little bit, still next season I'll concentrate on the top 10k. So we can get on. That's why we changed the name to FPL Apprentice, just to play safe. But yeah, appreciate your time as always, Matt. And we'll catch up next week, next Tuesday, I believe we're looking at. But we'll catch up offline, so nobody has to hear the planning of that. But we'll catch up next week to review the season, both as you say, both our finishes and the season in general. Ahead of next week. But enjoy, mate. I'm still excited to see how you get on as well next week and see where you finish. But as always, mate, appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate it. Cheers, thank you.
Right. And to you, the listener, thank you for your time too. If you're not subscribed yet, why not? Why aren't you subscribed? You can see the ticker down the bottom. Remember to click it. Just a big thank you to me and Matt. It is free to do, and it's pretty cool. We're looking to close in on that 1,000 subs. So yeah, please help us get there. We'd very much appreciate it. But whatever you decide to do with your game week in 38, best of luck to you. May your arrows be green, and we'll see you on the other side. Until then, all